What time it is?
Podcast time.
All right, it's Sunday night. Mark, how we doing, buddy?
Oh, wonderful. We're going to be able to eliminate that little Donald Trump section here in a few days.
I say we keep it for posterity's sake. That's what I say.
You think so?
Yeah, why not, man?
Yeah, I don't miss seeing his face.
How's your Sunday night going?
Well, today's been great. Just haven't done a whole lot. Probably should have. How about you?
I was just doing a pulse. I took a long nap today, a couple-hour nap. I don't know. Did we? I don't think we discussed this last Sunday. So obviously, I got the vaccine, in which you've been ball busting me quite a bit over the last week for. But
one time,
yeah.
Seth Rogen.
Well, if
anybody telling me he doesn't look a little like Seth Rogen,
it cut deep. It cut deep when you made fun of me.
Right.
But I don't know where I was going with this. I just have been so tired, like drained. And I've talked to other couple people that have gotten the Moderna vaccine, and they said the same thing, that I just have felt just worn out for the better part of a week, or actually a week and a half now at this point, and it doesn't seem to be going away. So just doing my best to get through it.
And have 2 weeks away from the second shot. 3 weeks?
2.5 weeks, yeah. So yeah, 2.5 weeks. February 4th, I'm scheduled for the second shot. So
I've heard the second one's worse.
yeah, that's what I hear as well.
So good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll be there in a decade at this rate.
Well, I don't know about that. I think they're going to start ramping up production pretty well in the first few months of the Biden administration.
About 3 days from now.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Anyway, so a lot of interesting. I can't talk. Rewind. A lot of interesting thing this week. Got our first new Marvel Cinematic Universe information or shows. God damn it,
You're not even drinking, Mark. What the hell,
You start
man?
talking. I'm drinking Diet Root beer, and I can't talk.
Sweet.
The wiring is off.
I have coffee. And this is my 2016 Food and Wine Festival mug.
Oh boy!
I believe we were together at that one, weren't we?
No, we hadn't met yet.
Are you sure?
It was
we had met in
November.
2016?
November 16 is when we met on that cruise. And
yeah, this is Food and Wine from 2016. This is when we met.
I didn't
meet you at Food and Wine, but this was the trip that we met, though. This was the
Yes.
trip that we met. Yeah, I just went to
Yes.
Food and Wine before I went on the cruise.
Yep. So
Right.
technically, we didn't meet at Food and Wine.
No, we did. Okay, fine. Whatever, Mark. Whatever. So anyway,
Those words worked.
the first new Marvel programming in
18 months.
18 months, a year and a half without any Marvel original programming finally hit, and we are back into the MCU. Now, we're going to talk at length about WandaVision, so this is a spoiler alert. If you do not want to have anything spoiled about the first 2 episodes of WandaVision, I would stop watching right now. Whoopsie. But while you are stopping watching, make sure you subscribe to our channel. I would appreciate it, as would Mark, if you would subscribe to us on YouTube and click that notification bell so you can find out whenever we post new videos. So WandaVision debuts on Friday. They released the first 2 episodes at the same time. Now, we have both discussed how we have friends that did not like the first couple episodes.
When you said, if you don't want spoilers, you should turn it off. This may be the only episode of this show where I'd say you might want to hear what we have to say, because the feedback that I've gotten from people that aren't diehard fans that got into it went, I don't know what to think.
Right.
So I think if you can see some of the lore and some of the Easter eggs and neat things that pop up in these first 2 episodes, you may get a little bit better appreciation for it watching it the first time.
Yep, absolutely.
That just a thought. Just a thought, because I know after I watched it the second time and kind of had things slowed down after the first time you watch it. You can see a few of those things. It got much better. The appreciation was much much better. So I don't know what you thought. Did you watch it just the one time?
No, I have actually watched through it twice, and
Okay.
I definitely I don't want to say I enjoyed it more the second time, but I picked up a lot more on the subtle nuances. So
Oh yeah.
if you have not watched WandaVision yet, and you are intending on watching it, and you don't care about the spoilers, I will start out by saying this. The WandaVision show, as it is right now, at least in the first couple episodes, and most likely until episode 6, is going to be a stark departure from the Marvel Universe that you've become accustomed to. The reason why is because, and this is a general spoiler for the show, is that she is trapped, and I don't want to give too much away about what the ultimate story is going to be, but she is trapped in a reality bubble. And inside this reality bubble, she is a participant in a television show in her mind. Now, the question becomes, is she doing this to herself, or is somebody else doing this to her? And that is the answer that we're going to get resolved. So if you're expecting to go into WandaVision and see WandaVision, Wanda and Vision battling enemies, that's not what this show is. This show is her existing in a sitcom world. And that's kind of what you see, with little nuances and hints to the fact that she is trapped in this alternate reality right now. Can you expound upon that, Mark?
So I see what you're saying. So the reality, it seems like it's a jump forward. I also think, and it's hard to say because there's been just so many twists and turns with Marvel over the years, but I don't think she's there on her own accord. But I think that still remains to be seen if that's the truth or not. But I don't think she wants out either. I think that's been made apparent and very, very clear that she wants to stay there because it's a happy place for her. And, that for me, that's just such an interesting dynamic to see that. What do you think? Do you think she's there on her own accord?
Yeah, I do think she's there on her own accord. I think that I believe that she ultimately created.
You don't think the radio? You don't think the radio?
No, I think the radio is, well, I think what happens is the people that are in the outside world, outside of this reality bubble, I think, and who you're hearing in that radio, by the way, is a sword agent. Most likely, and I can't remember his name right now. He was the FBI agent in Ant-Man. The Asian fellow in Ant-Man. I can't remember his name right now. So he is most likely the voice that you're hearing on the radio. But the thing is that she makes two statements in the second episode. Two statements in the second episode. The first one being when she is discussing with the neighbor that's running the talent show, and you hear the radio thing, and then the woman goes, "Who are you? Who are you?" And she says to the neighbor, "I'm not here to hurt anybody," or "I'm not going to hurt anybody." Whatever. So she's aware that she doesn't belong there. The second one is at the very end, or near the very end of the show, when they walk outside and they see the sword agent coming up out of the manhole cover, and she says, "No,
bees are everywhere."
No, and then the whole show rewinds. If she was a victim, she wouldn't have the ability to control that, nor would she be aware of what his presence means. So clearly she's in a reality bubble of her own making.
I don't know if it's of her own making, but I don't think she wants out. That's
no, I agree with that. Oh no,
she doesn't want out. I think she has every capability of getting out if she wants to. She doesn't want out.
I agree. She's because in reality, Vision is dead. And so, and the other thing that they have never really crossed into is that also her brother died in which movie was that? That was Avengers
Ultron.
Age of Ultron. Avengers Age of Ultron. He dies, and she's never really dealt with the loss of her brother. She had her moment where she fell down and screamed, and all of her powers came flying out. But other than that, I mean, she never really has addressed the fact that pain happened to her. And so I think this show is going to ultimately get into some of that kind of stuff. And real quick, pause real quick. Jeannie, I apologize about my background here. I'll switch over to the Millennium Falcon. We were tripping Jeannie out, and she was having a hard time seeing it. So I'm now in the Millennium Falcon in a Star Wars thing. I should have done a Marvel background for tonight's show.
You should have.
I know. I dropped the ball. It's my fault.
What
So I guess there are a couple different things here. First of all is, people are struggling with it being such a stark departure of Marvel's way of storytelling. So this kind of requires you to examine the fourth wall in a very different way and realize that you're part of the show. in this one because you are the viewer. I mean, if you're going to go into a reality world, you're not going to create a television because who's watching it? So it's kind of an artistic play on the idea. But basically, she's trying to find that classic American ideal, which I find interesting since she's from Wachovia. But she's trying to find that classic, mid-century American ideal in order to find happiness with Vision, even though he's dead.
Well, and it seems like with these jump forwards, they're obviously going to continue. She obviously didn't find it in the first episode. Let's see if she can find it in the second one. No.
Yeah.
But
Well, and
how cool is that though? That the homage to the long gone sitcom.
Sure.
I mean, oh gosh, how cool! Did you know that the first episode, Dick Van Dyke actually consulted?
Yeah,
on
he
it?
was a consultant on the
Awesome.
song choices as well as the set. So that was almost a inch for inch remake of the living room and kitchen area from the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah,
The second
very cool.
episode was supposed to be more in line with Bewitched. The opening title sequence as well as the opening song was an homage to Bewitched. Third episode, which is coming out on Friday, is going to be the 70s episode. And that episode is, if you've seen it in the trailers, looks very much like the Brady Bunch. So that'll be the Brady Bunch episode. And also she's very, very large. Most likely the twins will be born, in case you didn't know, she has twins. Most likely the twins will be born in the next episode, if I was going to make a guess.
Well, if you're jumping forward that far, they're going to be almost adults by that point.
But that's, yeah. So
that's the point. They got to get them.
Not
push
adults.
forward.
They got to get them to at least their teenage years. So they're not gonna age in
10 years old. 10 years old.
Well, they're gonna be more than 10 years old by the end of the show. They will be probably mid-teenagers because these are going to be founding members of the Young Avengers when they get to that storyline slightly down the road. Speaking of the Young Avengers, to go off the WandaVision subject for a second, I don't know if you saw, but they recast Cassie Lang again because they realized, they realized with the delay, all the delays that occurred due to COVID, that the girl that they originally had hired to play older Cassie Lang, she was already going to age out. So they decided that since she was only in a total of maybe 6 minutes of Avengers Endgame, and they could just age her or recast her and then start younger again. So that's fine. And of course, Kamala Khan, that'll be a show coming out later this year, which is Miss Marvel. She'll be one of the Young Avengers. And then they've already announced Ironheart, which will be the new female Iron Man. That'll be coming out probably sometime late next year, I'm assuming. So
all I care about is Moon Knight.
Forming the
talking
team
about all that stuff.
Yeah, Moon Knight. That's further down the road. I think that's into Phase 5, I believe, before we actually see Moon Knight.
Well, and then they actually announced Deadpool was going to be part of the MCU.
Yes,
so
which that has been expected for a while, but was kind of left off in the La La Land. Here's two very good pieces of news. I think we discussed a little bit of this last week, but first of all, they did confirm once again, solidly confirm that Deadpool 3 will be a rated R movie, so that's a big yay. But the other reality is that the contract that Ryan Reynolds signed to play Deadpool is enormous. Most likely that is going to include appearances in all of the Marvel movies going forward and the TV shows. He will most likely be the person that takes on that Stan Lee role of doing the cameos in every movie. And it actually makes sense because then he can kind of break the fourth wall, come in and out of all the movies. You can do that in a PG-13 without being unfair to the character and allow him to do his rated R stuff in his own movie. So I'm applauding that. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a great move. I think it was kind of a no-brainer. I mean, with what those two movies made for Fox, they had to do something. It wasn't going to. It's not like Hugh Jackman and Wolverine, where it's like, we could do this, we could do that, we could do this, we could do that. And, he again is also kind of aged out of that role.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I don't see that happening. But this one was a no-brainer.
Yep. No, I agree 100%. So we're getting ready to head into the 70s. The going back to the WandaVision show, it definitely is. I understand. I'm trying to figure out how to organize my thoughts here. Let's just say I think it's a smart idea they put out 2 episodes at once.
They had to.
Yeah.
They had to get to color. I mean, let's just be honest with you. If you would have ended that first one and gone, what did I watch?
Right.
I mean, because I think there was a lot of confusion from people in that first episode. If they made it to the second episode, I think they started to get it. Right. But I think a lot of people turned it off. That was a huge mistake.
Yeah, huge mistake. But you know what the thing? So it's okay that people are not watching it right now. It's okay that maybe they started the show and didn't get it, and so they turned it off. I think what you're going to find is that when more episodes come out, people have a chance to go back and binge watch it. And
we're
when
going to go, holy
it's a very
crap.
bingeable show. Jeremy Johns in his review alluded to that quite a bit. And the point that he was making is that if you don't know what's going on, he used the term the fuckery. There's a lot of fuckery going on in this show. And until you see the whole picture,
Very
you don't
much
understand.
so.
Yeah. And so I do believe that it'll be very bingeable. And especially in 30-minute segments. From what I understand, each of the sitcom episodes are 30 minutes. And then the last 3 episodes, which will be more
Almost like a
traditional
movie.
storytelling, will be about an hour apiece. So ultimately close to probably actually you'll get around 8 hours of television by the time that they're done.
Yep. It's very cool. I mean, I love this concept. I think it kind of, I don't know. I think the one movie they're probably kind of concerned about is the next Doctor Strange movie and how it goes down its rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder if this was to put out feelers to see how the reception would be towards that, because they still have time to change the way that movie's made in the structure,
Right.
depending on how people take to this kind of altered reality part of the MCU.
Well, you could say that they have time, but the reality is that a number of projects are based on this idea of the multiverse. The Spider-Man movie has almost completely finished their primary filming. One of the reasons why they've already started filming Doctor Strange is because they wanted the crossover pieces that are going to exist to be all filmed together. So that's going to be, between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, there's going to be quite a bit of crossover between those 2 movies. So that's why they're filming at the same time. Spiderman's
a multiverse that's easy for people to grasp. They've already seen it in cartoons. They've seen it.
Spider-Verse, yeah.
And the hell, they have 3 Spider-Men that were actors. I mean, we've got 3 actors that have played the part. So you can kind of grasp that based on, we've already seen it. So they're just making something that combines everything.
Right.
So whereas you go into Doctor Strange, now you're getting way out there, which is cool. And I'm super excited about it, but you're going a different direction than they've ever gone. Well, and this is probably as close as they've gotten so far.
There's another thing that Marvel is really good at that I think you're seeing right now, because there's a lot of information floating around the internet that I think is purposely false. And one thing that Marvel's done throughout Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is they put out fake trailers. So when you would watch the trailer, you'd be like, oh my God, that's going to happen in the movie. And then, of course, you get to the movie and that doesn't actually happen. You don't actually see the scene that you saw in the trailer that you expected to give the whole plot of the movie away. And I think Marvel, because they are smart and they have kept ahead of the curve, I think their thinking is that, okay, they're on to us with the trailers, so we can't confuse them with the trailers anymore. So now we're going to confuse them with casting rumors. And so you've heard, if you've paid attention, you've heard the rumors about John Krasinski being Captain America. You've heard the rumors about not Emma Stone,
Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, but no, the other one there. What's Emily Blunt? You've heard the rumors about Emily Blunt playing Black Widow in the Doctor Strange movie. You've heard the rumors about Tom Cruise playing Iron Man in the Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah, you're hearing everything.
Yeah,
so I think they're probably not going to do that.
Yeah, I think it's all a smokescreen. I think they want to raise the hype, because they got to get people back into wanting to see these things again. But they also have to understand the real reality is that movie theaters might not be what movie theaters have been for a very long time yet. And that a lot of these things are going to depend on Disney Plus for a long time.
Yeah. Could be another year. Could be 2 years. Could be that it never comes back. It could be that movie theaters are too far gone.
Well, they might not be able to afford to stay open, yeah.
Right. I mean, AMC is bankrupt. I mean, you've got we've got 3 large chains, and we've got one that's almost gone. We've got 2 more that, who knows? I mean, Cinemark seems to be the only one in any form of financial health at this point. I mean, everybody else is,
and they're not even an American company. They're a British company. So.
There you go. So, that's I think you're going to see a lot more of I think we talked about this already. The boutique theaters, meals in the seats, get your beer and all that stuff, and
which we have one of those right down the street here.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Yep.
Have you ever done an Alamo Draft House?
I have not.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
Coolest
Jessica's family's from that area. I've been wanting to go down there to check out Alamo Draft House, but I have not.
When we were down there in Austin, we went and saw Joker. Damn, they played the trailer for the Deer Hunter in front of it. I mean, what the hell? It was incredibly cool, So anyway, off on another tangent like we get. But I do think the talk about movie theaters and the direction they're going is important to all of this, because that changes budgets, that changes scope. I mean, that changes that changes everything. That's new world for movies.
Well, there's two things, to think about as far as that goes. One is the cost of production, and two is the return on their investment as it pertains to Disney Plus, for example, as opposed to theaters. So, when you have a big budget release in a theater, I think the average big budget popcorn theater movies now are costing about $250-300 million to make, right? So the average Marvel movie now is making $1 billion because they're seamless storytelling, so everybody feels compelled to see every movie. So let's take $1 billion movie that costs $250 million to make. So there's $750 million profit, but you're looking at $100 million of marketing, so there's $650 million profit. But half of that $1 billion income on the theater goes to the theater chains, not
they get the
not
cut.
them. So you're talking about a $350,000 or $350 million movie, only getting $500 million for the studio, so that's $150 million profit.
Well,
however,
that's a Marvel movie.
That's a Marvel movie, not the smaller movies. That's
here's the
big
problem.
budget movies.
Here's the problem. Marvel, and this may not even be true too, because we would have said this about Star Wars 4 or 5 years ago. Marvel may be immune to that. The problem is, where does that change the rest of filmmaking? Where does it change the whole industry? That's where it becomes an issue.
Well, the problem is, and Martin Scorsese caught a lot of, actually, was it Martin Scorsese or Francis Ford Coppola? I forgot which one. Caught a lot of flack early last year before COVID hit, complaining about superhero movies specifically. The idea that the big budget movies have become so ubiquitous, it's almost every month now. There's this big budget popcorn Hollywood blitz movie, is that now people are stopping. They're not spending the money on the small movies anymore. They're not going to the theater to see, little dramas or romances. They're only spending theater money on the big budget releases, and everything else is being relegated to streaming services or on demand later on. And he's right. But, the thing is, that's what the market's bearing.
But the problem is, in the same breath, you get a director like that says that. But, I mean, Netflix comes in and pays him $200 million for a movie. So yeah, where's the issue here? The issue is he wants, when you're talking about directors, pretentious directors, they want their movie in a movie theater. They want it their way they want it. Yep. And that's half the problem. When you're talking about going from a big budget popcorn flick to art house fare, they're two different things, and they need to be thought of as two different things.
Sure.
And I don't think a lot of directors like that want to accept that. And I think the art houses and the things like that, those are the theaters that are going to survive this. Those are the theaters that are going to make it. The thing is, how are we going to see our big budget popcorn flicks going forward? That's going to be the question. That's the question I have. You're still going to have the Alamo Drafthouse sitting there with their boutique, showings, because people are going to go to that. You have diehard fans that go to that, just like me going to Disney World in the middle of a pandemic. I'm going to go there because I'm a diehard fan. Hint, hint, Chris. Yeah. So you're gonna get those people. It's are you gonna get John down the street to go see the next Avengers movie but he's worried about cleanliness and things like that, even if COVID's gone.
Right. Well, and you also got to keep in mind too that there's so much money in streaming. So Netflix, for example, right now just has gone up to $15, what are they, $17 a month now for Netflix?
$17 if you want 4K.
Yeah, which is what I've got. Right. So you got.
I canceled it.
Did you really cancel Netflix or cancel the 4K?
I don't watch enough Netflix.
Oh, see, I watch a ton of Netflix. And Disney Plus is only $6.99 right now, but I assume in the next couple of years that price is going to go up. It's going to go up to 10 and then 12. And if you've got 50 million or 60 million subscribers, that's an incredible amount of money coming in every single month with very little overhead.
Absolutely.
So
right now,
I think
they're not making money yet. They're not making money yet, though. That's the thing. Disney Plus is not making money. It's still it's almost break even.
Right.
But
they only said 2024 was when they expected to finally for it to
and they're way ahead of that.
Yeah, they're way ahead of their pace on that.
Way ahead of that.
Netflix,
86 million people was the last number I heard from Chapek. So
yeah, keep in mind Netflix is their stock is off the charts. They've made billions of dollars in stock. However, the company itself has not pulled a profit once yet. They have not pulled any single profit off of their movie making. They're spending more money on production than they are on what they're getting back in subscriptions. but because their stock value keeps bumping up, their cash flow is good because of the value of their stock. So they're hedging their bets. It's almost become like a futures market for them. They're hedging their choices to inflate the stock market by increasing their market share due to high quality content. At some time though, that's going to have to flip because you can't. There's only so high. There is a ceiling to market.
There doesn't seem to be a ceiling though. I mean, how long was Amazon losing money? How long was Tesla losing money? I think Tesla's still losing money, and
Amazon's still losing money too. Bezos has not pulled a profit in years.
Amazon is making money now. Amazon has net profit.
Oh, in the pandemic because everybody was buying online. But prior to the pandemic, they're still losing money.
They are making money now. So it doesn't that doesn't seem to be something that matters. So if you don't need to make money, you can just pump all that money into the content.
Right.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I mean, all the shareholders are happy.
Well, and I think if theaters do go the way of the dodo, I do believe that people's choices are going to be limited. Also, more and more people, month after month after month, are canceling their cable subscriptions. There's just not enough content available to them. They don't care about repeated reality shows, the broken concepts. The information and media and entertainment that's available on Netflix and HBO Max and Disney Plus and Hulu. I mean, really, if you like network television, Hulu's got it the next day, which is also owned by Disney. Yep. And then that's the other thing with Disney too, is that a large portion of their streaming budget is income from Hulu because they acquired the last rights of that in the Fox merger. So there is so much coming in for them right now. It's not a bad idea for them to focus most of their production on streaming services.
Yes, but I think I kind of wanted to transition in my second part of this whole conversation today.
Okay.
So we've got a company in Disney that we all love and adore. And do you think maybe at this point, seeing all the news that's come out this week, that they have spent a little too much time focusing on Disney Plus and letting everything else go by the wayside?
You mean
Seems
the parks?
like they find every parks. Absolutely parks. I mean, there's some big news this week.
Yeah,
I mean,
huge news this week. And actually there was really big news last week that we never discussed too. So I do have concerns. One thing is that Disney has always they have always positioned themselves with the different departments as their own separate corporations. So the parks budget is the parks budget. They don't bleed over with the entertainment budget. The movie and online streaming services and television, so ABC, they were all combined under one boss 2 or 3 years ago. It wasn't very long ago. And then
that was Bob Chapek.
Right, that was under Chapek. It was last year. It was right after that transition of power. But the parks have always existed separately. They've always been their own.
They weren't though. They were merchandising. They got lumped in with merchandising.
Right, but they weren't part of the entertainment. What I'm saying is they weren't part of the television and film.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So that was my point about that. So and part of that reasoning, I believe, was because if there was ever a merger or a purchase from Apple, because they were hedging that purchase for a long time, that it wasn't going to include parks. That parks were not going to be part of that. Parks were going to exist separately. The merchandising, which is where the real money was going to be separate, because ultimately Apple really just wanted Disney's IPs for their Apple streaming service. Now their Apple streaming service is certainly not as it's not as successful as they had hoped for.
I think let's see what I'm just going to look up the subscribers right now.
Yeah.
But I guess my whole point with this is you went from a TV guy in charge to an accountant in charge.
Right.
That's a concern. I mean, that has to be a concern
for the parks or for the movies.
The CEO. The CEO.
Well, yeah, but
you had a TV guy, Bob Iger.
Bob Iger has not walked away from the company. He is still directly involved. He's become his whole idea with this was giving Chapek the keys to the accounting, the money strings or the purse strings. He gave Chapek the keys to the purse strings, but he's Walt Disney now. Bob Iger wanted to be Walt Disney. He wanted to be the idea guy. He wanted to be the one that brought everything together. He wanted to be the one that,
I'm not sure that's happening.
Well, it's a pandemic, Mark. I mean, we're not in a normal world right now. And we also, you got to keep in mind too, there was a catastrophic failure with Star Wars. It's been recovered now, thank God. But the new movies for the last 6 years were, it absolutely has. The movies for the last 6 years were a cluster. That's been an enormous failure. But Marvel's done incredibly well. And keep in mind, these mergers of Lucasfilm and Marvel, these were Bob Chapek's deals. Pixar as well. Pixar's still doing really well. I mean, Soul was incredibly well received. I don't know what the viewership numbers are on it. I haven't seen because Disney's been slow to release that data. But I mean, it doesn't seem to be. I definitely haven't heard any bad news about Soul.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah. So I don't think there's poor decision making going on right now. I think they're just reeling from the reality of a pandemic world. And what do you do when you have a media company and a theme park company? I mean, they really are two industries that have been devastated by this pandemic that is not, by the way, over. And it's we're probably not going to see normalcy until, probably the end of this calendar year. So it's going to be a while before they really start to thrive again in that regard. With that said, parks, they return to park hopping. However, they got rid of their annual pass process, which is a smart choice, by the way. They need to bring in cash quickly.
And I agree with you there, but if I get what you're saying there as far as annual passes, and there's a couple reasons why you don't want to have annual passes right now. One, because you can't accommodate everybody on an annual pass, so more people are going to be unhappy.
Right.
And two, they need cash. So if you need cash, you do it that way. My thing is, if you keep opening up the parks and you open up exactly zero entertainment, then you've got a problem here, because now you've taken one massive portion. And you and I had a conversation about entertainment at Walt Disney World. Do you remember where we had that? You're drinking wine at the top floor of the Grand Californian Hotel, and I asked you, where do you really like better? Do you like Disney World or Disneyland better? And because you'd spent time working at Disneyland, you spend so much time at Disney World, you can't even count that amount of time.
Right.
But what did you say? I mean, you said Disney World, and I asked you why. And what did you say? Why do you like Disney World better? You said entertainment at that point.
Yeah, entertainment's a part of it. The other thing with Disney World that I love and why I keep going back is that as soon as I cross underneath those gateways onto Disney property, I'm only in Disney. The outside world is just different. It feels further away, and you fall into that fantasy land. And the reality is that's also why I haven't been down there since the pandemic started, because wearing masks and having a loss of all that entertainment and the little nooks and crannies that I like to go into and the large crowds, all that being gone right now makes it feel more like the real world.
The reason people are worried about it is they don't think entertainment's coming back. They don't think, all those entertainment people are fired. I mean, there's no layoff.
They're not working anywhere else. They haven't lost them to anything else. There's no theater productions.
Universal's brought their entertainment back. So Universal's brought those people back. So Universal's probably even cherry picked the best from Disney World. I mean, they could have.
Maybe we'll see.
So why do you have a park 10 miles away that can bring all these things back now in a safe and controlled environment, and Disney can't?
Well, part of the reason why is when Disney does something, it's national news. When Universal Studios does something, nobody really cares. And as much as they have an Orlando rivalry, that rivalry is only in Orlando. It is not nationwide. Universal does not pull the numbers that Disney does, and Disney being Disney and all of the the aura and mystique that comes along with that name means that they're always the ones that are going to get attention. And also, Universal has a bigger problem because they have a multi-billion-dollar third gate, right? Third gate. They have a multi-million-dollar
gate if you call the water park a gate.
Yeah, but Disney doesn't call water parks gates either, and so I don't count that. So they're massive third gate getting ready to open. Yeah.
Well, and they haven't even started. They're just a big empty lot still, as far as I know.
No, I thought they had more work done than that.
I think all the work you're seeing is what they've got going on in Japan, because they're opening the same pieces.
Right,
in
correct.
Japan.
Yeah, I saw the Mario Kart
Nintendo
stuff.
and all that
Nintendo
crap.
Land.
I mean, the way they're positioning it in the news is, look at this. It's going to be in Orlando. So I think there's a mixed message from Universal. I'm not saying they're all right. I'm just saying their crowds are getting busier and busier and busier at Disney World. Mm-hmm. They're expanding without telling people the numbers. They have to be. If you saw pictures of this weekend.
Oh, I saw pictures from Magic Kingdom just this weekend.
Jam-packed. Yep. So if you don't have that release where you can slip people into a theater, I mean, I know at Magic Kingdom you do have a few theaters that are open. One that probably shouldn't be right now due to what's going on. They need to get an animatronic out of there as quickly as possible. But they need that relief to get people away from the lines and,
Sure.
and and it's just I don't know if you're around the Disney World, the Disney bubble, the Disney World, back in 2005 when Walt's nephew was fighting with the board.
I remember that. Yeah.
When Eisner was ousted and all that stuff happened, and I mean there was the guy. I mean there was a term that was bandied about at that point. It was declining by degrees. You're doing things slow enough that people don't notice until it's too much. And that's what I feel like you see most of the time is you see that declining by degrees. Now I think you're cutting things off and it could be, you could be absolutely right that you're cutting things off because you have a pandemic and you have to just gut things.
Yep.
And I'm not talking about Magical Express. Magical Express, it is what it is. They've got a high-speed rail coming through in 2024. Right. So
and there's still going to be trains, or there's still be buses. You just have to pay for them.
Right. Mears is still going to have transportation to get there. That high-speed rail is going to be just fine.
Yep.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about all the little things that are gone. I'm talking about the things that go away, and because they're small things, they never come back. And
well, maybe, but they'll be replaced. I have confidence they'll be replaced by something else. You do have to still treat a company as a company. Would Walt Disney make these decisions
before, though, and it didn't end well. So, and it ended with Eisner going away.
Sure, well, sure, and I also would make the argument that Disney has been pricing themselves up and up and up and giving less and less and less, but people still continue to come, and until Disney is incentivized to stop making those decisions, they'll continue to do so. I'm sure that somewhere in a boardroom, the conversation was had, hey, we could take whatever we want away. They'll still come. Because some people just get sucked into the magic of the whole thing. And that's fine. And eventually they'll learn when the gate numbers drop. But right now, I understand their decision process. I don't necessarily think it's great for the future of the company, much the same way you're saying. I just don't think it's a doomsday scenario in any way, shape, or form. There's a lot of new stuff coming to all the parts.
I agree with you on the non-doomsday scenario. I think what you need to watch is we need to watch and see if they start to lag in maintenance. That's when you're going to know that this is just like 2005. Disneyland with Paul Pressler and those idiots involved. They got the guy killed because the cleat ripped off the dock because they never fixed the dock after dry rot.
Yep.
That's if you start to see that, then we have a problem. And I get it's a pandemic. I get things are bad. I understand people don't want to go, don't want to sit in a hotel. I'm curious to see and I'm sure there's data out there because reservations are going on right now. Let's see what we see for reservation numbers come for the 50th. Let's see what happens at the end of the year. Are people going to be going? If they don't get their numbers for the 50th, then they really have to rethink the way they're doing things.
Well, I had looked into rooms for December already, and there are not many. December is already pretty well booked up. We do have some friends that watch this. I don't see any the people that I know that still work at Disney right now are not on. But Jeannie could possibly speak to DVC numbers. But we're in the frame right now. It's the 11-month mark is December. So are the DVC people booking rooms? I have not checked availability in a couple weeks, so I don't know. But I'm about 3 weeks away from booking my January for the races. Yep. I'm assuming Run Disney is coming back, but they have not been open about that. She's making a comment. Jeannie's making a comment. They've been lagging in maintenance for years. Actually, let me bring this up on the screen here. So they've been lagging in maintenance for years at Walt Disney World. What is it? The handrail? Boom, boom, boom. The handrail going up the side of the castle and the fancy GF elevator. What is GF? Grand Floridian elevator in the lobby both had paint drips all over. Oh, wow. That's cool.
I'm not talking about paint drips. Great. I'm talking about maintenance that gets people killed, that gets a train ripping off the tracks on Big Thunder. It gets, that's where this is headed. So let's see here.
There's only, and again, there's only so much they can do if they have no money coming in, and they were closed. They were closed for a long while, and those losses of revenue can be devastating to a company, even a company that size. I mean, their losses were in the billions this year, so they definitely took a massive, massive hit during the first 3 months. And they will come back. DVC is selling out, but it gets near that time they all cancel. Well, that makes a lot of sense.
So right now in October, I can get a room at 16 different resorts right now for the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, that's not a great sign.
That's not good. 16 resorts have, and I mean, the cheapest room is $224 at All-Star Movies. So, I mean, even the cheap ones are available.
Well, I was speaking with one of our friends that is a cast member in reservations, and they have not put in the discounts yet. So everything you're seeing is still rack rate. So they're still renting rooms at rack rate.
And that would be expected for that day.
Right.
I mean, you talk about 50th at Disneyland. You couldn't find a room within 50 miles of the place. That's an exaggeration. It's more like 5 miles, but you couldn't find a room. Yep. It didn't exist. There's people camping out overnight to go in. That needs to happen. And to see DVC rooms are sold out, I totally understand why that's happening. I just read Jeannie's message, and that makes sense because you can book so far in advance. You need to make sure you have the room.
Correct. Yep. But often they cancel, like she said.
I'm talking about these cash rates. I mean, you can go get a room. I mean, I can get a room now. I never thought in a million years I could walk in. It's the same,
but I also have no interest in going to the 50th anniversary if there's not going to be a special fireworks or parade or. I
wouldn't want to go either.
Yeah, I mean, why spend the money on chaos like that?
You can enjoy everything about the 50th any day and probably the 18 months after that.
Correct.
So
and these celebrations often go on, and there is nothing wrong with Disney saying, "Hey, this was not the year for it. We're gonna celebrate the 50th anniversary on the 51st anniversary."
They're trying their damnedest to make this happen.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's a poor decision, but it's all about money.
This might be the one thing. This might be the one thing they ram that square peg in the round hole.
Yep.
They just have to.
Yep.
Because it's the 50th.
Yeah.
So
I'm
curious to see how it goes. I won't be there that day. I can tell you that much. So
yeah, I have no intention of being down there anytime in October. What is that? October 21st?
October isn't the
17th?
October isn't the first the actual day?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I forget now.
I think it's the first. I'm looking.
Yeah, so October's
Walt
too soon
Disney
for
World
me.
opened on October 1st.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
okay. I will likely be down there in August. And I will definitely be back there again in December. Or no, I'm sorry, not December, January. I have not decided what I'm doing in between. And I don't know if I necessarily want to spend the money on 3 trips this year. It might just be 2 because there are 100 other places around the country I can go to spend my time.
Well, and next year is going to be epic as far as people going on vacations and things to do and all those things. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Well, the other problem too is that I have almost 3 full years of points right now available to me in DVC, and I'll never be able to book those rooms.
And you can't even use them all because now the way they've banked and borrowed, it's all messed up.
Yep.
So
I don't know what they've got to offer something for that. Otherwise, I'm going to rent points because rent out my points because I can't. I don't know if I can do that.
You heard about Aulani, right?
Yeah, I saw that they were doing an extra 5th night, but that was only in February.
That's pretty damn cool. Yeah. I think it's through May now. I think.
Oh, they extend it? See, now that's something I would take into account because the flights to Hawaii right now are cheap.
Yeah, it's $400 from Seattle, which is insane because it's usually an $800 flight. So,
and this is one of those times. And by the way, I can fly to Hawaii really cheap from Toronto for some reason.
I mean, that would be.
Except I can't right now because I can't cross the border into Canada right now. That's still
talk
closed
about
up,
a safe trip right now. I mean,
yeah,
it's about the best place you could go. The COVID test before you go. I mean, you're safe. Well, of course. Blah blah blah. Anyway, trying to be mean. Hey, so the other big news was the APs being gone. But the one thing I wanted to talk about was my cruise in April.
Yeah.
So they've now canceled the Disney cruise now through March. End of March is done. And you cannot go on the website and book a cruise for April. We have a cruise booked. It's not canceled, but you couldn't go on and add yourself to a room right now. It's done.
Sure. Okay.
So very interesting. I am fully expecting they will not go off in April. We'll get our money back for that and just move on to probably Aulani in April. That's the plan. I think.
Not a bad idea.
I've
told my clients I'm planning a trip for April. I don't know where I'm going yet, but I'm going to get away for a while in April. I'd like to do almost a week if I could. So yeah, that's I would love to go to Hawaii. I would have
I've
no problem with Hawaii whatsoever.
So,
but I'm also considering the Caribbean because there's everything is dirt cheap down there right now.
There's
they
so many
need
different
people.
places you can go right now. I mean, they're more than happy to have you come in. So, they're more than happy to have you there. So I am very excited to do that type of trip as well. I mean, heck, any island right now is very happy to have you. You can go to the Maldives, you can go to Bora Bora, Tahiti, wherever you want to go. They're all good. All good.
Sure. Ryan in there. Ryan is asking about the vaccine. What do you want to know about the vaccine, Ryan?
Tell her tough shit. You already talked about it. Should have come on earlier.
You get so angry about the vaccine, man.
No, you already talked about it earlier. She needs to log on right when we start, not be a millennial and come on 30 minutes late.
Oh, the nice thing about us recording is she can watch it whenever she wants to.
She can. It's on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
There you go. Oh, hey, well, hold on. I got an animation for that.
Oh yeah.
So I will tell you, Ryan, I would not waste your breath arguing with Republicans or conservatives or QAnoners or any other conspiracy theorists about the vaccines. You're not going to win with them. They live in a land of fear, and they're going to continue to live in a land of fear. The unfortunate thing too is that there's not a whole lot of long-term data yet, and they're not going to trust anything that comes out of the media either, because most Republicans that buy into the Trumpisms aren't going to trust anything the news ever says anyway. So I would worry about yourself, and wait till you have an access to the vaccine, and don't worry about people that think the vaccine's dangerous. Let them think that. They're going to change their minds in time, because they're going to be incentivized to do so. It's not time yet. There's not enough vaccine to worry about it. We don't have enough vaccine for the people that want it. So wait until there's excess vaccine, then worry about the people that don't want to take it. And trust me, by then, and without people dying en masse, they'll jump on too. Because if the question becomes, can I stop wearing a mask and go back to concerts, or wait without a vaccine, they'll take the vaccine to get back to life. Yeah. So they're posturing right now because they know they can't get the vaccine anyway. The majority of people that are like, I'll never take it, they can't get it right now anyway. No, so they're just blowing their mouths.
It's just all bluster at this point, when they've got the chance to go in and they see all their friends getting it, pressure. Peer pressure is a big thing. That's why
those of us that get it are posting our social media feeds that we got it. And I want people to know it's safe, and I did it. You can do it. That kind of thing.
Did you see that Dollar General's paying every one of their employees 4 hours if they go get it?
Yep. Absolutely.
That's cool. So
yeah, absolutely.
And I see there's a post. I think Jeannie Gallo wants to see your gangrenous green arm that's about to rot off from the shot.
It's perfectly fine. You wouldn't even know. Like, I don't even feel anything now. The only problem I have is that I'm still tired. I feel worn out. It's been a lasting side effect. The headaches. I had a real minor headache for about 2 days after the vaccine. I think I might have talked about that last week. My arm was certainly sore for a couple of days. I never felt actually sick, but I have felt just worn out. Lack of motivation, lack of energy. Getting through a whole day of work has been a struggle, because what I do is very physical. So by the end of the day, I just feel exhausted. I've had a couple of times climbing the stairs that I've felt a little tired after climbing a couple of flights of stairs. It's because my body's using all of my available protein to produce antibodies, and the proteins necessary to block the spike proteins. So it's doing what it's supposed to do. What I'm looking forward to, and I mean that in a very sarcastic way, is how I feel after the second dose. I've had several friends that have gotten the second dose of the Pfizer vaccine, and they've actually felt sick afterward. They have not. Nobody's been hit yet with the second dose of the Moderna, which is what I got.
There.
Yeah. So we'll find out. I'm 2.5 weeks away from getting my second dose, so I will let you know how that goes. Certainly we'll be talking about it. I think I get it on a Monday, so we won't. Nice. You won't see me on here until the following Wednesday or Sunday. So. But at that point, you'll know for sure.
Going by then, yeah. If it's a week out and you still aren't, then we'll have a different conversation.
Well, and Paul just mentioned that the shingles vaccine. Actually, Paul, I'll never get the shingles vaccine because I've never even had chicken pox. So I have natural immunity to the whole thing.
Lucky.
Yeah, I very much feel that way. However,
I had them under my eyelids. They were down my throat. I had chicken pox everywhere. My sister got two. Fucked up. Sorry for swearing.
I got a series of vaccines when I went to Thailand many years ago when I was still active duty in the military. I got malaria, typhoid, and anthrax all in one day. And I couldn't move my arm, and I felt like I was going to die for about 2 days afterwards. So if I make it through that, I can make it through anything. That's what I say. So
that sounds horrifying. On
that note, we're going to call it a night. This has been another episode of The Gentleman the Jerk. This was a good one, man. 2 weeks in a row without any
we've had dropouts or technical difficulties.
Yeah, we had
so we got 11 people 13. Watching. We're up to 13 at one point. Why do we only have 10 likes?
I don't know, guys. Make sure.
I mean, I'm not gonna be mean.
Make sure you subscribe. Click on the notification bell as well, like I said, and share this with your friends too. Hey, like these guys are these guys talk funny things, man. Go watch these guys.
We're a little nuts. he likes things too much and gets a little too crazy.
Yep.
That's why he's a jerk.
And you can catch me every single day of the week now on my Daily Octane channel, The Daily Octane, right here on YouTube. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be getting away from the politics a little bit because my gaming videos, which are almost an hour long, are getting way more views than my politics shit. So I might just start gaming all the time and just do it that way.
I think you should.
Yeah, I like it. I'm doing a Subnautica series. I just posted I filmed my third episode. I'm going to post it tomorrow. Nice. So I'm doing a full playthrough of the game from the very beginning to the end of the story, and that'll be over the next couple of weeks. I'll be posting that, hopefully, within an hour a day. I won't be posting, however, for a couple of days this week. I am going down to the DC area, not for the inauguration, because you can't get anywhere near it. I'm not even going to go into the city of DC. We're going to just be over in Virginia in a hotel that we had booked that Travelocity won't let us refund because they're assholes. So I'm not going to waste all the money I spent on the room. I'm going to down there at least hang out. We got a dog-friendly room, so we can bring the puppy.
Nice couple of days away, just
Yeah, and Jessica needs it. She hasn't left the house in almost a year. She needs to get to get the hell out of here. Something fierce. So.
Yep. I get it. Totally get it. So,
all right. Any closing thoughts,
Have a nice time. Hey, no, I have a good time. Stay safe. I'm sure you will be. It's going to be an interesting week. We'll see how it goes. Excellent. I mean, today was the day they said a bunch of craziness was going to happen. It seems pretty quiet. So
well, now the chatter. Well, we're not going to go down on the rabbit hole. The chatter is now that there's going to be 10 days after the thing is all going to be canceled. We'll see. We'll have something to talk about next week for sure. Right. I'm sure. All right, guys. Fun. Have a great night. Thanks for watching. The Gentleman the Jerk. We'll see you tomorrow, or actually next Sunday.
Not tomorrow.
Sunday. Yeah, no, next Sunday. All right. Have a great night.
Do it tomorrow. All right. Good night.